about returning to school, not returning to school, how you guys are feeling about, being part-time workers, full-time workers, things like that. I have some basic questions I'm going to ask, but those are my parents. Yep. Next to them possibly could be Asia Gray. She is, yeah, that girl right there that just turned her head. That's Asia. She is a sophomore in college. She goes to Mizzou. Um, she just finished her freshman year right before COVID hit, or while COVID was hitting, actually. Um, Next to Asia is Chris. I went to high school with Chris. Chris graduated college 2 years ago, something like that.
Yep.
Um, and he basically has his degree, or he works in marketing and does a lot of marketing and things. But he's able to kind of relate as far as like potentially or maybe considering going to grad school, not going to grad school, whatever he feels. Christy, no one can really see her, but that's Christy, guys. She is a graduate of Spelman College. Yep, that's the college she go to, Spelman. She graduated last year before last, one of those, between the last year and 2 years ago. She does a lot of different things. She just started a fitness company. She just works for a car company, I believe, and some other stuff, but she's really dope, so she'll be able to give some good insight too. I think that's all that's in here. That's all it shows me. Yeah, because yeah, okay. That's everybody. I'm Jordan. Excuse me. I'm Jordan. I don't go to school. I'm just considering going back in August, but we'll see what COVID says and what the Lord says. Amen. Right there coming in, although she's muted and doesn't have her audio on, that is Stephanie Shaw. Guys, she is walking into her senior year at U of I Champaign, class of 2021, turn up. So she'll be able to give us some more, insight on how she's feeling and what's going on with her. Steph, if you could put your camera on, I'd like that. That was my 4 minutes. So that's everybody. So basically, we're just gonna start the conversation just by asking how everyone is feeling. Let's not all talk at once, you guys. This is being recorded, so let's just be courteous and nice with everyone. But everyone's unmuted, so whoever wants to go first, just how you guys are feeling, what's going on in your head. Oh, okay, that's Stephanie, guys. What's going on in your head? How you're feeling? Some of your reserves, some of your things you're anticipating about this year, and we can go from there. So let's go with Christy first. You muted, sugar.
Hey y'all, can y'all hear me? Yeah, so I'm okay. I think more so my thing is my little sister is in school, and so her not going back in the fall affects her. So making sure that she is straight. And then I was abroad, and when everything happened, I got sent home unexpectedly. So just taking everything step by step, and that's really just what's been keeping me going.
Okay. Asia, you can go next.
What is that?
Asia could go next.
Well, okay, so basically my struggle was with everything was actually deciding if I was going back because my school is open, but everything is hybrid, of course. But with me being a nursing major, I still have majority sciences left. So that was my greatest struggle because taking sciences alone is hard. Now I try to do it remotely and learning through a screen or whatever. And then I have labs. So it takes away the hands-on part. And that's my favorite part of learning is being hands-on. So that definitely frustrated me. But then what I did, I started talking to my actual nurse practitioner, and she encouraged me, and she told me, girl, you could take them classes online because you're smart. And we can't overcome all those challenges and everything. So basically I've decided I'm going back to school in the fall, and yeah.
Let's see. Go back to school. Social distance. Don't touch nobody.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer. Mask. Lysol wipes. Any of those. Chris, you muted.
Oh,
There you go.
hold on. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, sometimes I forget that I'm on mute. Well, Asia, I wanted to say I'm glad that you made the decision to go back to school. I actually had a few friends who were taking like science courses, so I can feel your pain there. For me personally, I think that especially just being in the advertising world, it's one of those things where you realize how much work that you can really just do from home. You know, the idea of just going to the office every day, commuting every day. At first I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is just a necessary evil. Now it's like, wait a minute. I should have been working from home for a good chunk of my time anyway. So things have kind of been pretty chill. We don't really have it's not nearly as bad compared to like most people's situations. You know, being single, not having kids, I don't have to juggle. I don't have to deal with those struggles. But no, it's been actually a blessing in disguise. With all of my traveling plans canceled, that kind of forced me to be a little bit more disciplined to pay off my loans.
Okay, that's good. Little snippets here and there. Drop them. I think you're the last person before I go to my parents. I'm gonna involve them in the conversation because they're on. So, Steph, tell me how you're feeling first.
Well, I personally, I'm going back, but that's because I have to, because I signed a lease for an apartment. So I'm gonna go back, but most of 60% of my classes are online. I'm a dance major, so let me know how that's gonna work. So I was very upset when I found out that we were going to be online. Not upset at the fact because it's for safety, which makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm not upset about that. I think I'm just upset because like anybody can take a dance class on the computer through a video. And I feel like because it's my senior year, I'm like, this is not how I wanted to go out. So I think that I was just upset with the fact of losing the college feel, I guess, especially for my last year. And like, I also feel like kind of salty, honestly, because I would always joke like, I don't need a degree for my career, blah, blah, blah. And then this happened. And then I was actually sitting down contemplating like, wait, am I actually going to get a degree? Am I going to go back? So yeah, so I think I just, at this point, I just want to go back to get it done. Like, I always wanted to get it done, but now I really just want to get it over and done with, just because we really don't know like what's next. So I would rather not still be in school or in a college setting, any setting of academics, while anything like this is going on. So pray for me. That's all I'm gonna say.
The girl, Big Kahuna's in the top corner, my left. How y'all feeling? They're not students, but I mean, join the conversation. How y'all feeling? What's going on in your heads? With having kids that are in different spots, you know, working full time, being in different states. How you guys feeling?
Since Daddy's kicking me under the table, I guess that means I'm supposed to talk. No,
No
usually,
violence. We are recording.
It
usually,
wasn't on camera.
usually he's the one who does the talking. I guess today it's gonna be me. It is very challenging. As a parent, you have to consider their health plus the people around them. Um, I have 3 grown kids and 1 in high school, so we're debating back and forth if she should go back hybrid because she missed people so much. And then if we should let her stay home because, I mean, we're talking about teenagers. If you can't get adults to keep their mask on, you know, how am I keep a teenager, a group of teenagers, even if it's only half of the school in a hybrid model? How are we gonna keep a group of teenagers with their mask on, and how the school gonna keep the schools clean? What happens if one person in the class contracts COVID? to everybody else. So those are the things I debate with for the high schooler. And then for the adult ones, it's just the same thing that you guys deal with. How do they protect themselves? Um, for those the ones that work, how are their jobs protecting them? Because my husband is an essential worker, and my daughter, her company, which was not an essential business but never closed, is still working. And as COVID cases pop up in these facilities, how is my family protected from what's going on in the world? So we have a lot of the same thoughts that you have. People with compromised immune systems in our families, things of that nature. So I'm sure you guys have some apprehensions. I am like Chris. I have been working at home since March 9th, before the shutdown even started. My job was like, well, if you want to work from home with what's going on, you can. And I took the opportunity to do it. So it's nice to be able to work from home. It's nice to have to get up in the morning and make that commute. I get it. But for some people, working at home has become very stressful, not just because of the kids, but because they don't have the social interaction that they usually have with other people. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, and that being an essential worker, kind of what goes through your heads? Like, I know there are people that work from home, but being an essential worker and have to get up every day and knowing you have to interact with people that could potentially have COVID, not have the best company. Like, how do you feel? What's kind of your thing?
Well, my thing is, because I work for Amazon, we are in close quarters in everything we do. And yes, you have to wear your mask. And yes, they supplied the hand sanitizer and everything else. But being at Amazon, and I guess just being anywhere, anytime somebody sneezes, coughs, looks like they want to scratch, I'm like tensing up, just like, did you just come from New York? That used to be the thing. Now you can come from anywhere in the country. But I mean, it's stressful. And then with the job, because by law they are required, if someone does come up with a case of COVID-19, I'm getting text messages almost every day from the job. Somebody was just there at the job that was exposed, but their last day was 2 days ago. Well, I was there 2 days ago. So then mentally you start thinking, okay, do I have a temperature? Can I sniff? Can I taste? Can I do, you know what I mean? There's so much mental that goes through it. But at the same time, and I know Jordan kind of preferences, we are a generation that has to live by faith. You know what I mean? This is one of those times where we kind of test it. We say we trust God, young, old, whatever the case is. And now it's one of those situations where you really have to trust him, know who he is, but at the same time have common sense. I believe we have a God that works with common sense. Yes, he does miracles, but he also didn't put himself in situations to be a fool either. So that's how I feel about that. But I also want to say this, and I'm going to turn it back to Jordan. I'm glad you guys are on here. The reason why we did this is because we wanted to make sure that you guys had a platform from college all the way down to my elementary school babies, which we'll do next week, to express how you feel about this whole thing with COVID. We see the politicians on TV. We see some of these celebrities and everything else, but I had really never had a platform where I saw young people have a platform to actually express how they felt about this thing. And it affected them. It's affecting you guys almost more than it's affecting some of the adults that's on TV. Don't get me wrong, I love them, seniors, you know, compromised immune, I love all that. But you guys are now considered the essential workers going back to school. And I kind of feel for college kids, because when I wanted to go to college, my thing was a different world. I wanted to be on the quad. I wanted to go to hang out in the Black Student Union. I wanted, you know, the set to be, you know, I wanted alphas and omegas and kappas to be doing their thing all down the court. You know, that's how I pictured college. And then to think that, and now you get news that you got to wear a mask, you got to be 6 feet from each other. You can't touch anybody. You can't do any of that. It's like the whole picture just came crashing down. So I know it had to be hard, it has to be stressful, but I wanted to at least make sure that we gave you an opportunity to express it, to talk about it, some of your apprehensions, which I'm sure Jordan to get into, but I just really wanted to hear from you guys. So Jordan, it's all you.
Cool. So you kind of touched where I was going next. So I know like Steph and Asia and my mom and my dad are really like faith-based. And I don't want to just assume, Chris, that you are too. So even with like even with like how you feel in your faith or maybe your religion or things like that, like how does that affect with like COVID and things going on? Like, again, I don't want to assume. So even if you do believe in God, like, great, we praise him for that. But I don't want to assume. So how are you feeling as far as like religion and kind of what you believe in? How has that been affected by COVID?
All right. So I guess, well, basically, I guess what Pop said, like, I've been having faith, like, I pray for myself, I pray for people around me, but I still use my common sense. Like, I'm still protect myself physically, all that stuff. And I'm definitely, never mind, but that's pretty much where I've been with it. Like, I'm not out here being stupid. I'm following all these guidelines as best to my ability as possible. So, yeah, and of course I'm always believe God that he gonna protect me too, but I'm gonna try to protect me too. So, yeah.
Horrible analogy in English. Chris, what about you?
You know, I will say that I miss church, and I know like the big churches, like you got a few big churches they're starting to open up, but I miss going to my local church because we're still kind of like closed down. So that kind of sucks in terms of the in-person like fellowship, the interaction. I kind of grew up there, so this is the first time for me to be denied that. It's like, oh, I cannot go to service. And they try to do the live stream, but it's like, yo, it ain't the same. It's one thing to take a course online, that's like fine, but it's like to have church online, I don't know. But I just kind of say, well, just do my prayers and just kind of lean on faith. But man, I miss going to Sunday service. I miss seeing everyone. And then I'm also just kind of keeping, my church family in prayers. My other, I got families pretty much all over the place. So just hopefully we can get back to how things used to be next year. But only time will tell, right?
I'm just gonna hop in really quick. So I don't know how, honestly, I feel about it as far as religion and how I've been feeling. I know I have slacked off and I have not watched live on a Sunday at the time of service in about 6 weeks. I catch it during the week though, so I think it's actually kind of made me a little bit more lazy as far as getting up on time. But that could just be me being lazy, honestly. But I just want to put that out there. Stephanie, how you feeling about all of this in church and Jesus?
I think that it's been forcing me to hold myself more accountable and in proving to myself that I actually trust in him. It's just been a lot like going on. So I'm just like, at this point, I really can't do nothing. Like, I have absolutely no control. Like, some situations we get in, we're like, okay, hold on, I could probably finesse. But this, literally, there is absolutely nothing that I can do. So when I think that it was crucial, like, personally for me to get to this point, because it's just like, all right, now I literally have nothing to do but wait and see what he does or what he will be able to pull through out of this. And I can't even fathom what can even happen. So that's not helping me either. Usually I use my imagination, like, okay, he could do this or he could do that. I am at a loss, honestly. So it's just really forcing me to just find comfort in knowing, like, he's God. He knew, he knows, and he's gonna do what he want to do. He's gonna do what he already knows is on the schedule, and we can't get a peek at the schedule, unfortunately. So we just had to wait till the schedule happens. we gotta wait till class start. I guess we just go into the little lecture hall. We don't know what's gonna happen. You just wake up and you in the lecture. Yep.
Just saying. Because
It's
if he could
like,
just give me a peek at 2 years of his schedule, I think I would be prepared for a lot of. We're gonna talk about that later. But okay, I just think that if he could just drop maybe 6 months of his schedule, honestly, I think I could change about 6 years of my life. That's all I'm saying. Cause just 6 months. But we're gonna pray into it. Okay, so I'm gonna get into like general questions and they can kind of flow into a conversation. But how y'all feel about using masks? I'm gonna answer first because I hate them. They're stupid and they're trash. That's just me. That's my opinion. I'm gonna wear them because my mom is gonna make me. But they're trash. That's as simple as it can get from me. I appreciate the protection that it provides, but the amount of heat that it adds is trash. But that's just me. I'm gonna go to the future nurse to see how she feel, but they're trash. Throw them away.
yeah. I mean, no, not yeah. Not yeah. Yeah. I ain't really mean to say that, but I'm full support of masks. I mean, yeah, they're uncomfortable. We're not used to them, but shoot, I'd rather be alive, you know, and uncomfortable than dead and dead. So I just, gonna try to embrace the mask. But it is definitely, it's like a hassle. Like you walk into the store, you just look at everybody staring at you like, oh yeah, I ain't got my mask on. I ain't got, it's like, come on now. It's like embarrassing not to have it too. Like, geez, like everybody's like Judgment Day. Everywhere you go, if you ain't got it on. Like, come on.
They pass the first stone is what you're saying? Okay, cool, got it.
But, so yeah, that's just, masks cool and all. They come with their disadvantages. But
Yay, Angel. I mean, your Asia, Stephanie.
I like Asia said, I appreciate them for the safety that they bring. But when I think in terms of going to school, specifically towards my major, I know Jabberwockies are a thing, to which they do dance with full face mask. I will give them their props. But I'm almost 75% sure that theirs are ventilated in a way to where they do not feel like they're about to pass out whilst dancing. So I am a bit concerned about that, because dance is a very physical thing, and I know the classes that I have and the teachers that I have, I've had them before, so I know what to expect in class, and I can barely breathe without a mask. So I'm just, with a mask. It's very interesting there. So that's also making me consider like taking all online courses, because I know that there is a way that I can avoid the discomfort while also being safe, which is by taking class in the comfort of my own home or space. So there's that. But I mean, at this point, again, what can we do? I'm just a little concerned as to why we're wearing these little masks when people wear different types of heavy duty masks for, spray painting and and doing all this other stuff, and we just have this little mask that's supposed to save us from a highly infectious disease that has killed a lot of people. But I guess we just baby steps.
I also want to say somebody eating a bat or a fish or whatever animal that caused this should be in jail. But I'm gonna let that go. Chris, how do you feel about these masks and wearing them to things and not wearing to things? But whoever ate the animal, we need to. I'm just gonna say that out loud.
I can't take you serious, Jordan.
I'm sorry, Chris. Before you answer that, anybody that's watching this recorded session, I apologize for allowing her to host. And I just want y'all to know,
your child,
the expressions that she expresses on this may not necessarily be the views of Rock Ministries, myself, or my wife, or anyone else that is related to us.
Good.
Please We do not own rights to any statements that she may say or anything that she may does. Thank you for your support. Chris, please continue.
She may does. Now you're saying
Hey, that was like the perfect full disclaimer. Personally, I only have to wear the mask when I have to like go into like public places because I'm sitting at home majority of the time, and it's like, yeah, it's one of those like inconvenience, but I just kind of develop a system. See, I got like 16 masks, and so I would just kind of put, there 4 of them would be in my car. I'll have like maybe 4 in my backpack for if I do have to kind of go long periods of time, and then I may have like a few more at my house. So that way, no matter where I'm at, I'm always going to be like masked up. So I just kind of looked at it as, well, this is law. You must have a mask. So let's develop a system to kind of help me make sure that I don't forget it. Make sure that, hey, if one breaks or, if they get dirty, then I have like backups.
okay, Mom.
Hey, cool, kind of a cool story. Asia reminded me of this. One of the advantages of masks, and again, I'm trying not to be Jordan's father right now, but I took my youngest daughter to the doctor the other day out in Indiana.
No.
And we walk in with our mask and we register and we sit down in the waiting room.
You do realize we're going to put this out for everybody to...
Yeah, I understand that. Anyway,
tell the truth.
But there was another older gentleman that didn't necessarily look like us that was also there in the waiting room. And I was trying to figure out why he kept staring at me. So I'm like, okay, why is he staring at me? This man got one more time to look at me like this or look at my daughter. And then he looks at me, he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And he runs out the door. And I look at my younger child, I'm like, what is wrong? She's like, I don't know. She ain't thinking nothing about it. He comes back in and he has his mask on. He obviously forgot to put his mask on when he came in and saw mine. And he kind of looked at me and put his on, talking about, is this okay? Is this okay? Man, you 90-something years old. How in the world are you going to ask me, is it okay if you put a mask on? Just don't cough on me or touch me. We cool.
And the crazy part about that is our doctor is in Indiana, and that's an option mask state. So actually crossing
it wasn't an option that day.
Crossing the border is really interesting because I've had to cross the border a couple times, and like I walk into restaurants with masks, and I'm having people look at me like, "Oh, you're sick, like you're crazy." But it's natural over here just to naturally have it on. But people in Indiana have an option, so even like them walking around without masks makes me uneasy, which is really interesting because I want to walk around without a mask. So I don't really know how that works. But it's a thing, clear.
So let me ask this question, Jordan, just kind of piggybacking on that. Being on the campus, how does that make you guys feel if you're walking on campus and you see somebody walking down the street or walking to class or whatever, and they don't have a mask on? How does that make you feel?
Well, going to my school, where I go to school with others, I see a lot of very questionable things. So I honestly will not be surprised to see anyone that is wearing a mask, because I know that there are a number of people that will be on campus that have absolutely no regard for anyone else's life, or obviously theirs in this case. So I think that I'm kind of preparing myself to know, like, I'm going to have to really take care of myself and really try to enforce certain things, like I guess you could say rules or guidelines for my own safety, because I'm not going to be at risk because you don't care. So I already know that it's going to be some people that just have no care in the world. And I don't know, I think that knowing that I have to go back kind of put that mindset into my head, like, okay, going back is a risk. And then just thinking about, like, what can I do to make it as safe as possible for myself first, and then other people.
Good job. So,
Hey, Jordan, I want to ask Asia one. So Asia, for you, you're going back to school, but you're going back to school out of state. So the rules and regulations there are different. So have you been keeping track of both sets of rules, and how do you feel about what's going on in Missouri right now opposed to what's going on in Illinois?
So Missouri basically, they've been, I guess they've been being kind of smart about things because nobody has really been at their full potential of, intelligence. But so they've been, everything's still been kind of like soft lockdown there. Masks are definitely required everywhere, but mainly they did it specifically in Columbia in the school city. So but I am kind of nervous because Kansas City ended up being like back on lockdown like all the way, and that's like neighboring city, and then majority of our school makes up Kansas City, St. Louis, so that is definitely very alarming because it's like if part of your state is closed down, maybe why is the school open? But so that I am uneasy about that, but like Steph said, it is a high risk, and I'm definitely going to protect myself. And I'm very this year, I'm very appreciative of being off campus now because it does give me, I don't have to be on campus as much as I was now. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Definitely going to protect myself, I ain't trying because them people, they are, like Steph said, you see a lot of stuff. So yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm also just concerned because I've seen people lick bar floors. I am just.
I'm gonna get to this. Hold a thought. I gotta get to that because my next question, I guess, and Chris, you can kind of weigh in on how you would feel if you were there. But I know partying is a thing with school, and I know people get drunk and they do the dumbest things. So what is how are you guys feeling about potentially partying, going to bars if they're open, house parties, sororities, frats, they have their things. What's your mind Chris, for you, I guess, because you're not in school, how would you feel if you had to be in that situation? Because I know me, I'm not there, and it's for the bird.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, parties will be so different if I would have went to any of them, because man, that's I mean, people are wild before COVID, so I can't imagine social distancing at a party. That's not a thing. I don't care what anyone says. That would ever be a thing. But it would be one of those things where it kind of reminds me of what your pop said earlier about the whole paranoia aspect. Because one cough and it's I'm gonna spray you. It's yeah, we just don't know, and it makes it, going back to everyone else's point, the college experience would be forever altered, because the whole point is to foster relationships, to have that camaraderie, to sleep over people's dorms, crash out on the floor or the futon, and it's well, in a COVID world, you can't really do that. And it's man, it's how do you navigate that social setting? That'd be kind of hard. That would be pretty frustrating and hard. So I don't know. I think I'll just be camping out in my dorm for the most part. But I definitely feel even with the whole roommate situation, those dorms aren't social distancing, optimized for social distancing. So then it's well, how do you kind of go about that? Is it just your roommate is so freaking paranoid that they just they'll only be in a room when you're not there? I mean, I don't know. People are crazy.
Before I get to the two that's actually in college, I want to know from your perspective, and I know you didn't get the full college experience, but thinking about college then and what college is going to be like now, do you think you would have been able to survive in college, like in a COVID-19 world? Or, Mom, do you think you would have been able to survive college? I know my mom went to Eastern, so they kind of party just a little. So, or even you being in a sorority, like, do you think you would have been able to survive a COVID-19 college type thing?
Probably so, because I lived off campus. I lived in married housing because I had a daughter at that time. So that would kind of get my mind wrapped around the fact that I can't be foolish and I have to protect her life. Um, but also, even with that, I don't think when it comes to stuff like COVID and partying, those two don't mix for me. So I don't like to be sick. So when you say something like that, for me that means all partying is cut off. You know, we can have a social distance gathering, which I've seen people have. You know, they go out back, they bring their chairs, they sit down, they kick it 6 feet apart with masks and stuff on. That would be cool, but I just know it's not good common sense. And I know common sense ain't always common, but it's not good common sense to try to go and have a party when it's a possibility that you can be sick. And unfortunately, sometimes people think, oh, well, it ain't gonna happen to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and go anyway. But everybody thinks it's not gonna happen to them. Uh, and what ends up happening is it's got to happen to someone.
But what happens if we protesting for a good cause? Like we want to go to Mary Lloyd Lightfoot's house and protest that she won't do it. We protesting. What happens at then?
They just wanted a revolution. You ain't see the video? They was dancing like Kirk Franklin. That's all they want to do. Was break dancing in the street. They won't even protest. We don't even care about that.
It just doesn't make sense. I get the costing. I'm not taking away from. I mean, even if you're gonna go outside and do the protesting, at least put on a mask. You know what I mean? If you're not gonna be 6 feet, I get it, but at least put a mask on your face to protect yourself from something that could potentially kill you, but if not you, someone in your family, just because, you know, we always feel like we're young, so we don't have no underlying health issues. It becomes an underlying health issue once it's discovered. So why use something like COVID to discover that you have an underlying health issue? So all I can say is, you know, I don't take away from the people who want to protest. I get it. You know, it's going to be a moment in history, just like COVID is a moment in history. But at least protect yourself. Put on a mask. Put on some gloves. I know people don't want to wear a face shield. Put on a mask. Put on some gloves. At least you're going to protect yourself from, if you touch somebody, what somebody else might have. Or, you know, you can take a glove off then and at least put your hand up to your nose or something if you need to. No mask can hide. So, just saying.
Okay. Sorry, Dad. I was gonna give you an option to chance to answer, but I actually have a question for, I guess, Steph. It's more so for you. So, like, I know as a dance major, you guys travel a lot. How do you feel as if your school was to offer, like, you guys going to Florida? I know Florida is partying. They partying. They is lit. Okay, Miami is where you should be right now. Like, how do you feel? What's your or how do you feel about Florida in general?
I would opt out because I don't know. I feel like at this point, all of the places that I was supposed to go this summer, I'm glad that things got canceled because things started to swell up really fast. And if they had continued to have those events and things like that, there's no telling what would have happened. And if you know dancers cannot keep their hands to themselves for some reason. So it would have just gotten out of control. So if I don't think that my school would like offer anything, but it's definitely, I don't know. I think when I think about the dance world in general, like right now, with people not having work or people are like some people offering work, job opportunities, and they're taking them and having to travel. Is just like, I get it, because you have to work, you have to be able to provide for your family, for yourself, but I feel like people are missing the bigger picture, like especially if you aren't taking care of yourself, then what really is the risk, what really is like Asia said, I'd rather be alive and uncomfortable, gotta ask for a little assistance from family, than to be dead and asking for, I don't even know what you're at. You can't ask for no one you're dead.
I'm a table. I don't even want to touch that. Chris, what about you? I know you do marketing. What if your job was to offer you going to a different state to market a bigger picture? Let's say like you got, I don't know, Tesla or Amazon. Like as far as marketing, how do you think you would feel traveling for work?
Uh, I think I'll generally feel like okay. Just make sure just make sure I'm just masked up. And different state, they got like different rules. So before going, I just want to make sure that I understand like the rules, because I heard there are certain parts of the states in the country, man. You would have thought they would never heard of COVID. It's like, well, what the hell are you doing? Like, I was like, where's your mask? And they were just like, oh, you know what? Screw that. And I'm like, oh, where other places are super strict. So it kind of becomes, I'm just gonna like do my recon, and my job is like, hey, please, we need you to kind of like go here for traveling purposes, write it off on the expense report. I'm like, okay, cool. It's still traveling. I think the only thing that would probably irritate the heck out of me is just the whole airlines thing. And it's like, okay, so I can't sit here, but I have to kind of like sit here. So I'm not really, I think that would be the only thing where I'm just like, I'm not really looking forward to that aspect, because they changed their whole rules.
Asia, what about you? I know you go to an international school. Well, technically, I both go to one, but I know like you guys do like studying abroad a lot, and you guys are known for having people travel back and forth, and even people from Florida coming to Mizzou. Like, how are you feeling? I know you have some reserves, but like, what's your initial feeling?
I guess just the word, like the title is uneasy. Like it's always just in the back of my head, like, ugh. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just kind of like, I do feel uncomfortable a lot of the times just thinking about that. But it's like, I don't know. But part of me, like being in Missouri, well, right now, is that at least their numbers are lower than Illinois. So I just be like, that's like the one pro. And so I don't know. But it's just like, yeah, it's just, I don't like the thought of it, of people coming in from Florida, or like, I feel like it should be some sort of restriction to that. That's why I really don't understand how we really going to school, because how you letting people just come from all different parts of the United States and outside of the United States, and like it doesn't make sense. It's like all of the guidelines that are in place is really for nothing if you letting all this other stuff happen. So
Hey, Asia, one of my sorority sisters posted today that her niece was on her way back to college. She's a freshman, I think, going to Syracuse in New York, and they are requiring them to come back 14 days before school starts so they can quarantine.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard like a lot of schools have been doing that or saying that, putting that in place, but Missouri has not. But I don't know, they're being very weird. Like our move-in day is one day prior to classes starting. So I don't know if that's their mechanism of trying to you know, I can't, like, how I'm trying to explain it.
Trying to stop the interaction with other kids.
Yes, like so you just get there and go straight to class, pretty much.
I get it.
But it's kind of stupid. It doesn't make sense.
Y'all all together in one spot trying to move in all at once, so it's worse.
It's just very dumb.
We're just gonna pray for Mizzou. They're gonna get it together.
Something that does make me kind of feel more comfortable is the fact that my school is requiring that before you go to class, you have to take 2 tests back to back. So I think I can't remember if they mentioned that it's either every week or if it's just for like the beginning of classes, because I know our first week of class is all online. Like they said, we will not be meeting in person the first week back of school. So once we do, they said that we are required to have 2 tests, and they will know because on our IDs, they'll be like swiping them or scanning them, and it'll show like your results, or if you've been to any of the testing centers before going to class. So I was just like, okay, like, yeah, that's great, but but they didn't have any answers on, well, if I test positive, what happens, how long should I be out of class, can I take class online, like what, because my department hasn't really said that we are hybrid, even though that we are, but they've offered like you can take all online, or you can take 1 or 2 classes in person, then everything else is online. So it was just like, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, which I really don't like. And this is not a situation where we should have any unanswered questions. But I mean, also it is a situation where we really don't know anything or how to go about anything for the best the safest option or possibilities. So yeah.
Hey, you know what, Stephanie, you raised a good point. And I would like to, I wonder if you do test positive, like I'm kind of curious of how colleges and universities will handle the whole dormitory situation. Because does that mean you would have to just like, you got to get off campus? I mean, you're going to be quarantined to your dorm. I mean, can your roommate, like, will they have to like go home? So it's kind of interesting, and to kind of hear, to your point, I'm also kind of shocked at how some schools, they haven't really did any type of like worst case, best case scenario planning for different situations. Because I always felt like you need to have at least some sort of plan, regardless of like what scenario students will find themselves. Because I know that's how my alma mater kind of went about it. Like they, in their minds, way back when COVID like started, they were already thinking, okay, if we cancel athletics, what will be the ramifications? Okay, how are we going to communicate that to parents, students, knowing that we went out and got these students for athletic purposes? If we cancel sports, how do we go about with crisis management?
And Chris, where's your alma mater again? Just so everyone knows.
Yeah. It's Augustana College. It's just a small private liberal arts school right over there in Rock Island, Illinois, Quad Cities.
Okay. And I guess it's kind of like it's gonna be interesting because my parents are on. But even with us being in college, being grown, having our own places, having our own relationships, our own events, how has it been? How has the interaction with, like, your parents and doing what you want to do, and going where you want to go when you know how the social distancing is going? But our parents are our parents, and they're very protective, and we love them for that. And Mom, this is my way of telling you I love you for all your protection that you've done. But how are you guys kind of doing? Like, I know personally, my parents they've in the beginning it was very strict, but lately with different results and different things coming out, hey Jeremiah, we've been able to kind of ease into, okay, this is what I'm doing today. I'm gonna be here with this person with my mask on in Lysol. I'm gonna be in my car saying hey to Asia from her car. It's okay. Like, how's that been with you guys as parents? Let's start with Steph, because Chris, you kind of like live on your own. You do what you want. You at your own risk. So we're gonna start with Steph.
Well, it's been fine. I mean, like I still, well, not this week, but I've been with Area a lot. I mean, my mom and dad know I'm typically only with about the same 3 or 4 people. So I guess that kind of helps knowing that I'm not really like a social butterfly in a way. So either I'm with him or I'm with y'all. I mean, really, that's like the only thing. So, and they know like that y'all care about your life and that I care about my life. So they know we're not being reckless. So it's been easy, but they would just give me like, stay safe, wear your mask, of course. And so yeah, I'm glad it's been easy because it's like, y'all know me. I'm not really a people person, but I can only go so long by myself as well. So I'm really glad about that they weren't like, on me, but also I wouldn't have really been upset because it makes sense. Like, this is not, COVID is not like a joke. This is a real thing, and you have to take it serious, especially because it's something that you can't specifically see. Like, you can have symptoms or you can be carrying it and not have symptoms. So, that's like, hold on, okay. Like, wait a minute now, let's be smart and let's really, make sure that we being safe. So yeah, it was okay, I guess.
Okay, well, Jeremiah, I think he's trying to get his signal together. I'm not really sure what. Oh, Jeremiah, hi, hello, welcome.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
So I know you're going into your sophomore year of college as well. And you just kind of
Yep.
jumped. Can you like give me how you're feeling as far as going back to school? How your parents are kind of like on you about things. I know you have a very interesting feeling about germs anyway. So like how you're handling it personally, like how you're dealing with your life.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to school. I tell my mom this probably like every single day. Because like, hey, college, like college is designed for you to interact with the most people at any time. You can't do anything by yourself. Like, you can't eat by yourself. Like, when you eat, you're around people. When you if you stay in a dorm with more than one person, you're gonna always be with someone. You can't even shower by yourself. You
He must be spitting some knowledge because the signal is clear.
bathroom by yourself. You can't with something like COVID, like it's just ready to not spread. What? Okay. Yeah. So I don't wanna like go back, and my parents know that, and my mom definitely does not want me to go back, because you know how she feels about just people in general. She just doesn't like people. Um, so yeah, I do not feel like it's gonna be a good idea to go back. Basically, like my school, they told us like in an email, they were like, yeah, you're gonna like essentially they said like you're gonna have to interact with people. So it's not like we cannot protect you from getting it. Like they're basically like telling us like basically like do not try to sue them or anything over it because you're going to have to interact with people who are coming from not only all over the country but across the world from every hot spot there is. This people from there. So not I'm not really looking forward to it.
Which is really interesting because I didn't know that schools were saying like you can't sue them if you get sick, but you have to interact. Like that's a contradiction in itself, which is interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
some people from my school have said they've gotten emails like basically like a COVID death, like what is it, like a waiver basically saying like you're coming back to school, you're putting yourself at risk. So if you catch something, we have absolutely nothing to do with that, and also we're not like liable to tell you if anybody has it. I know my apartment building, they added an addendum to our lease saying like we are not responsible for telling you if anyone has it, if someone's contracted it, if they, and I'm just like, okay.
okay, so mom and dad, something being someone just like her parents, like how does that make you guys feel? I know y'all not her full parents, but y'all close enough to it where y'all can have an opinion. So how do you kind of like feel about that? Like dad even being super protective, like how does that make you feel?
First of all, hearing that, just to put it out there, anybody watching, Jeremiah goes to Northwestern. So yes, I'm putting him on blast for Northwestern. And
Oh no.
anybody else for that, because even like I said, at Amazon, one of the things is they don't have to tell us who had it, but they're liable and legal. They have to tell us that someone had it. Now, what they have is contact tracing, which means that if they look at the camera and the person who is exposed to it, they'll go back on the camera, find out who's around that person. They will personally contact them and let them know, hey, you're around somebody who has it. You need to quarantine yourself for 14 days before you can come back to work. So for me to hear something like that, and my kids are going back into a situation like that, I'm thinking of legally now, what can be done, because somewhere in there, in the law, there has to be something that needs to be done to protect our children, to protect yourselves. Again, you don't have to tell me specifically who has it, but I need to know if they were on my floor. I need to know if they were, in my classroom. And if they were on my floor, if they were in my classroom, did you clean my class? Did you come in? Did you clean my room? Who else had it? Like Stephanie Chris said, where can I now go? Because obviously I can't go back to where I was if I don't feel comfortable in my own room. I'm definitely not going to sit in the room for 14 days. After I was in my room, I have it now, and you're telling me I need to go for 14 days. But then if you're out of state like Mizzou, or you have to go back home, now I got to go back home to Illinois, who, if I'm from out of state, I have to quarantine myself for 14 days before I can leave to come back to my school. So it's a whole lot of unease about the whole thing. I think some legal ramifications need to be figured out, and I understand law and, government, politician, all that little stuff. But as for me and mine, I would prefer for them to be as safe and protected as possible. Yes, I am overly protective, and I would defend them to the death over Trump and anybody else. So yeah.
The
I
new
was going to say, as a maternal mother bear, how do
is
you?
the new stimulus package that everybody's happy about, because they're giving out these wonderful $1,200 checks if you paid taxes. Inside that bill, there is a clause that says, and it hasn't passed yet, it's close, but it hasn't passed yet, that businesses, schools are not liable if you contract COVID on their campuses. It's one of the reasons why it has not passed yet, because we're in a political environment, and they're going back and forth about if they want to waive the liability from these jobs, because a lot of jobs, I mentioned that one of my daughters worked for a company that's not an essential worker company, but kept their employees working through the beginning of this. When most of the country was shut down, she was still going to work every day. So this new clause is that they're saying is protecting manufacturers and businesses like Amazon and schools who allow kids to come back from, if anything happens to these kids or the teachers or administrators or whoever, they no longer become liable. That really bothers me a lot. The reason being is, if we would just shut the country down for a little while, we could pretty much help get rid of this. I do understand the economic issues that come with that. But right now, you're saying, as Daddy said, the kids are now the essential workers. They're required to go back so we can get money back in the country. So now, and this is just my opinion, we need money more than we need the lives. It's pretty much what it feels like to me, And that bothers me a lot, because you're saying that nobody's life is more valuable than how much money each organization or each company get. And I don't agree with that.
So saying that, let me ask this real quick, and then I'm gonna let y'all answer that. Hearing what she said, and I just thought about that. How does it make you feel to know that they're almost forcing you to come back to school, but they're taking people out of prison and the penitentiary because they're worried about them contracting COVID.
I'm just hurt because college students not getting no stimulus package, and y'all want me to go back to school and put myself at risk, and I don't even get, and I pay taxes. Apparently, my parents just told me that they be filing my taxes. News to me. So
Taking your money.
Something is not adding up to the way that I would like for the equation to equal out in my favor for my disadvantage.
Oh my gosh. Okay, pause. Before we do that, I do want to take a minute, guys, and just say that Breonna Taylor's killers are still out there. So justice for Breonna Taylor. If you got the email or the phone number, please call it. Please email your local government. We need to do something. We need justice. Black lives do matter because Black is king. Period. But no, I do want to take that minute out just to say justice for Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, everyone else's name that we don't know or that we don't hear about as often. So, yep, I did that. But no, I think it's interesting as a full-time worker to know that you guys are going back to school and like they're showing that money matters more than lives. Even working from home, my job has talked about us going back to work multiple times. There's no way to social distance 500 people through 4 floors. I know there's no way because there was no social distancing before COVID-19. And having a boss that's a germaphobe, he was willing to quit his job if they were to make us return because he just felt like his life was more valuable, which was really interesting to me. And I think if they made me come back, I would have to consider, really, really, really consider and actually consult because I just feel like Illinois isn't at that part where it's okay to return, even though we're in a certain phase. I feel like we're just jumping ahead like we do with a lot of things, and I don't think it's fair. But I want this to be figured out by November. I do, for the sake of voting. I'm not going to lie. I want to be able to vote and not have to worry about going to vote and cast my opinion and contracting COVID and not being able to see the results with the people that I want to discuss it with. So I do want to throw that in there too. Ask how you guys feeling about like voting and COVID and Chicago and Illinois jumping ahead, or even Missouri because you guys don't have as many results. How, Asia, you're feeling about going to vote out there, or anybody can jump in.
Okay, let me add another question in there while y'all thinking about that one. How do you guys feel about the fact that most of the school board meetings are done by Zoom because they don't want to contract COVID, but they sending y'all back to class?
Yeah, that's I'm gonna jump in here for a minute. Yeah, I seen the memes just kind of expressing like, oh, we gotta get the kids back to school. But school board meetings are held through Zoom. A lot of people you have a good amount of people just working from home. Like you said, people are taking folks out of prisons, but we got to send the kids back into the schools all because of, you got some adults who's like, look, man, I don't want to do the whole homeschooling while trying to like run this company. So I'm gonna call up some teachers like, hey, y'all need to get these kids back to school. And I really like that idea of kids are the essential workers. And I think that's kind of like the saddest aspect of COVID, outside of the fatalities, of course, because it's like, why, it's almost like we're just kind of sacrificing in the name of like capitalism. And I know that is just, it's like morally wrong, ethically, like that's not right. When somehow as a country we've deemed this like, well, we're willing to take that price.
Jeremiah, Jeremiah, you're not muted. I'm having a conversation.
How do I go about this? Okay, so I think something that's been very heavy on me is the fact that we're dealing with so much in like so little time. So it's August. Yesterday was March, so make that make sense. So much has been going on, and so it's just like, you know, every month, every day at this point, every hour, you never know what to expect. So on top of dealing with an a pandemic, which is not a little thing, we also have racial injustice. On top of racial injustice and a pandemic, we also have terrible leadership, literally running a nation. And because of that, because of how the nation is being ran or led, we are now suffering. So I don't know if you guys have noticed like what's been going on with you, the U.S. Postal Service, but because of wanting to get, well, because they basically have defunded the U.S. Postal Service by the things that they've caused the U.S. Postal Service to have to do, there is now, as you can, I don't know if y'all been getting y'all mail, but we haven't. So there's a delay in mail and deliveries. And then now there's this thing that it just so happens that all these things are happening right before an election where using mail-in ballots would actually be better than going to the actual polls to vote. Coincidence? I don't think so. So, you know, it's a matter of like, so now what do? I know that they've been saying if you would like for your ballots to make it by the correct time, you know, for election day, you have to request them like 2 weeks early, you know. So, or if that's not true, then, you know, there's also the fact that like we don't really know, is it true, is it not, you know, there's that. But it's like, so do I go wait in line? Do I go to the polls? Do I try to make sure I remember to request the ballot in time? Do I have to worry about my ballot not making it in time? You know, there's all these things that are now plaguing us in a different way rather than an actual, what seems to be a literal plague going on. So, you know, it's just adding, and then knowing that we as in Black people are also being disadvantaged in different places. So people are, they aren't voter suppression, they're not letting people go to polls, or things aren't working there, or, you know, things are just not working in our favor, of course. And it just, the timing of everything is just like, you know, just very, it, like the words, just making you uneasy. It's making me feel very uncomfortable, very afraid. It's like, well, if I can't vote, if I can't go outside and go out and do this, then what can I do? If we can't go to Bella Noche's, then where the heck can we go? You know, it's just like, I'm just very uncomfortable, very confused on how to go about things. And then, you know, the pressure is really on us young people. Make sure you go out and vote. Make sure you go out and do this. Well, yeah, I know that, but like, look at the circumstances, look at the situations. I'm trying to make the best out of it, but how do I do that? And also with the notion in the back of my mind of staying safe, staying healthy, you know. So that's how I feel about it. I'm a vote for sure, but it's just, you know, the pressure and the confusion and the awareness and the reluctance is like making it very hard to, you know, decide like, you know, what to do. And it's making me feel like, you know, I just don't want to do anything, honestly.
Okay, so to both of you guys' point, I guess you and Chris, with that being said, like even with being aware, how has TV news, has how social media, like how has that affected, you know, how you feel about COVID-19? Like I know personally, I try to stay off of social media because everyone has an opinion. It's either we're coming to the end of the world or a new world order, or, and it's just too much for me personally. And I want to have my own belief, but it's too much happening. So how has it affected you? Have you just stayed off of social media? Have you been on there kind of proving your point? Like, what have you guys been doing, or how do you feel about it?
Personally, I stopped watching news. I, I don't, I've, at the beginning I posted, but then it started getting too negative, I guess you could say, especially with like in the term of politics. And I was just like, okay, so now I'm just posting for myself, doing a lot of things for myself, because if you try to appease everybody and join in and with all of this stuff, I'm not really sure where I was going to be able to find the happiness of living and existing, you know, so I had to cut it.
Asia?
basically really what Steph said. It was like, think I definitely got off social media. I try not to give my opinion too much because, like you said, people like to come up with so many different conspiracy theories, and it's just like all of it is. Hmm?
They say can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's probably your value.
It's all the way up. What about now?
Oh, that's better.
Okay, I was covering my speaker. Um, it's definitely very like overwhelming hearing everybody's thoughts and opinions and beliefs about it. But it's like at the end of the day, I just tried to just focus on the simplicity of it, even though it's very complex. It's a complex situation. Just focus on what I can do, for myself, and try not to. I really didn't want to think about it or see or hear about it as much because it's just stressful and like it's scary. And don't nobody want to be scared every day or hearing troubling news every day. So I definitely just like honed in from social media. I really try not to use my phone as much as I used to because it's really just overwhelming is the word, really.
Triple K, how you feeling as far as social media? I know that's like actually a part of your career, your marketing. So I know you have to keep an eye on certain stuff. How are you dealing with it?
Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. Well, the reason why I asked is because I switched headsets, so I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. It's one of those things where, especially when COVID first like hit, me personally, I was trying to be so mindful of not spreading doom and gloom news because originally that's all we were seeing. 20 people just died in like the last 48 hours thanks to COVID. 50 people died here. And it's like, that's all that was like circulating across timelines. And I know that that's not the news, that's not the narrative that I wanted to continue to perpetuate. So what I did was I found sources like little aggregators that actually kind of shows like, hey, these are different inventions people are coming up with to fight COVID. So I found any news articles I could, like Forbes, CNBC, like whatever I got my hands on, just kind of say, hey, these are some solutions that people are bringing to the table versus the doom and gloom narrative. Whereas now it's not as bad, but it becomes of now we're having headlines of there's gonna be second wave, third wave, and it's like I don't want again I don't want to continue perpetuating like that aspect. So I always just try to figure out like if there is solution oriented news, I'm gonna share that. If there is like good news, I'm gonna share that because look, I know the media, I have friends in the media, I know how this works, and they are just bombarding us with all of these like negative oriented news, and that's just like health wise, like mentally, like psychologically and emotionally, that's not good for you, especially to consume that on platforms like throughout the day.
Okay, so you don't have to mute Chris because this next question is for you. Working with marketing, do you feel like your company personally is doing their part to keep people at a mental peace, or do you feel like your company is just COVID is hot right now, we're going to use that to market and make money? Or are you like indifferent? If you can't say anything, don't lose your job for the sake of the forum.
Oh, trust me. Trust me. I wouldn't say anything that would get me to lose my job. We good there. So because I work in advertising, it's more so we have to kind of calm our clients down than the actual like employees. Part of it was once we figure out that okay, clients are kind of freaking out, so we got to calm them down. These are big brands that we're talking about. So we had to, and they have legitimate concerns. A lot manufacturing closing down. I mean, they don't really know what messages to put out there. For a while, my industry thought it would be a great idea to put the messages of "we're all in this together" or "we're here for you," and that just pissed people off. And after a while, people just got annoyed of that. And so consumers was like, we don't want any COVID messaging, stop. And so we were like, okay, we're going to stop doing this. And we told our clients, we're not going to move forward with this. The other aspect was, my agency did a great job with reallocating the resources that we need. We didn't lay anyone off because we knew we didn't have to. All we had to do was kind of shift people to different departments, shift people from, if you're working on the account with Pepsi on the Tropicana brand, can we move you to Porsche Cars North America? And that's kind of what my leadership have kind of decided. They didn't want to lose anyone. They didn't want to let anyone go. Some people, the people that did leave, they left because they wanted to, not because the company is like, oh, we're gonna lay you off. In my industry, we laid off about like 20%. Like 20% of the industry got laid off. So it's like that's never happened before. So that was a big deal. So I personally feel like my agency kind of are doing the best that they can with, okay, we're trying to make sure that people are cool. When it came to like salary conversations, people getting promoted, we had to put a pause. We had to put a pause on whether or not people are going to get promoted in the same cycle that we usually kind of go about it. And just having those ongoing communications, I think that kind of made people feel at ease. We're obviously dialing up the mental health and wellness resources. Those are like through the roof, because when you're in isolation like this, it can get kind of lonely. But we also have kind of implemented virtual events so we can keep that that socialization. Humans are social creatures. We need to maintain that. We need to maintain that sense of belonging, but also that connection. But we're just trying to figure out how do we kind of do it virtually. So I think that overall, my agency's kind of doing a pretty decent job compared to other companies that I've seen.
So let me ask a question, and Stephanie and Chris both kind of touched on a little bit, and it was something that I kind of wanted to get you guys' opinion on. Being college students or just getting out of college, Asia's sophomore, Stephanie, she's been there for 9 years. Chris just got out. We know Jordan, she's still in high school. Jeremiah's a sophomore. But I've got some college kids, they are just now getting ready to enter their freshman year. And I've talked to a lot of them, and they're depressed right now. Mentally, they're depressed. They're going through some rejection. They feel like the world's going to end. I'm all by myself. This is not how I wanted my life to be. And if I can be just totally honest, or I get on names, there's some that are borderline suicidal now because of the shutdown and them going to college. How would you actually talk to them, you guys being sophomores, being in it for a while? Because it's kind of different for you. You got the experience last year. You know what I mean? You got at least a taste of it. Maybe not the full year, but you got a taste of it. There's kids out here that don't have it at all, and they probably won't get it. So for some that are feeling like that, what would you say to them?
Go, Asia.
Go ahead, Asia.
So, like for me personally, my freshman year was probably like socially the worst year of my life. And y'all know I'm very big on community and having friends and people that I'm attached to. So I feel like with this in place, I don't know how everybody else is, but for me, it would have been probably like 100 times worse. Because we can't really socialize how we're used to. And so it definitely, I found myself in plenty of like funks and feeling isolated naturally then. So I will only imagine it being, how it would be now. So I would like tell them like how it is really a blessing in disguise for some people, because I didn't really believe people saying that freshman year is kind of like your toughest year. I didn't really think that was going to be my testimony. So I was just like, definitely shocked at the outcome. So I would just hopefully try to make them understand the bigger picture of you do need, like, socialization is very vital in college, because you got to talk to advisors every day. You got to talk to tutors every day. You just got to, it's a lot of communication. And for it to be your freshman year, like incoming, you're already new to this environment. So now it's just like this environment, not even familiar with the environment no more. So how are you going to try to familiarize yourself with something that's totally changed now? It doesn't have the same structure, the same, way things are used to going. So I would definitely try to encourage them, but hopefully try to make them understand that maybe being at home right now is what's best for your mental capacity and what you can handle right now. So, yeah.
And me personally, I know I'm pretty goofy typically, but honestly, I think this is for me. I would be more so encouraging. You don't have to go into college not knowing who you are. Like this is a chance to kind of discover you, and spending time with yourself, even somewhat social isolated. Being in the house with your family can kind of teach you who you are, or you get a chance to know yourself a little bit more. And that's something I guess I would have done going into school. Got a chance to know myself more. College helps you discover who you are, but having some time to stay home, not only are you saving money on tuition, but you get a chance to know you a little bit more. And I think that's something that we need just as a generation. We don't really know ourselves. We think we do, but we don't. And so I think it's really great that they get this chance to not do anything, like just to sit down and really deal with what's going on, get the mental health that they may need, talk to a therapist, talk to friends, figure out what it is to do their de-stress, figure out what it is when they eventually do go back to campus, which is our hope, what they'll be able to do when they are in midterms up at 2 a.m. studying for a midterm that's happening at 8 a.m. because freshmen get 8 a.m. classes and they don't know how to distress. Like, it's one of those things where you get an advantage, or you get to learn in advance what to do in those moments of 911 when you're by yourself with a roommate, your roommate getting on your nerves, and you got a test in the morning. I just think it's good for me personally. I think that's how I would kind of flip it around, just to give them some glimpse of hope that life isn't over. Because I know a lot of people feel that way, like this is it, this is the end, and there's a future after this. So I think it's really good to give that perspective of there's a future. We just have to get through this period where our leadership sucks. Everyone is trash, but it's okay. Trash people become great, and one person's trash is another person's treasure.
The opinions of this host are not necessarily those of Rock Ministries, my wife, or anyone else that is associated on this. Thank you very much.
God.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm being honest, a lot of people in my generation feel like people are trash. Like, they will tell you, like, people are trash. See, Stephanie said, people are trash. Trash. But it's okay. Jeremiah, if you're on, I don't know if your signal's out, if it's on, I don't really know what's happening, but if you could give your opinion on this and how you would help an incoming freshman or a senior, even considering who's graduating early or something like that, like, what would you say? What would your advice be, or what would you do to keep them from losing all hope?
Yeah, like this is sort of, I guess, what you were saying, like about it being an opportunity to like grow, I guess. So I know like college as a whole is like very jarring, like to just move into abruptly. So I know for my freshman year, I cried a lot. I don't usually cry, so that was that was something. So like having opportunity to like sort of ease your way into college, like that just makes everything better, I guess. It just allows you to, so that makes sense. Like just allowing you to like slowly transition into like being on your own and doing stuff like like you said, like all the tests for freshmen are the earliest they could possibly be, and all of that. So like having the opportunity to just slowly be introduced to more aspects of college life, like that's a great thing. I wish I would have had instead of just jumping in the deep end.
And Jeremiah has spoken. You don't hear a lot of it because of the signal, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Beth?
I think being a person that has endured the college higher education for 3 years, I feel when I think about like all my little people that I know, like that are incoming freshmen, or like we have like a mentorship program through my department. And it's like, I didn't want to be a mentor because I'm like, what am I supposed to tell them? I need somebody to tell me something, you know? But I think that when I stop to think, it's like, well, I know how I felt coming into school, like you guys said, like maybe taking a time off or choosing to do like community college would have been, you know, would have been better or could have been helping, especially like in financial situations. But I also think that because we are in a time where things are becoming more virtual, everything for the next few years, honestly, everything is going to be online. Film is going to become a very big thing. It's going to be a lot of places where you can't go like physically, so you're going to have to become even more technologically advanced than our generation already is. So I think that this could also be a time for incoming freshmen to think like, well, some of my career, because we don't know how long this is going to go. So some of my career could potentially start online, and what skills can I gain from this moment, this time right now, knowing how to use things on the computer, knowing how to socializing through a computer screen, through a video camera is completely different than socializing with someone in person. So what kind of skills can you learn from knowing how to emote, knowing how to talk to someone that feels like, okay, maybe we could if we were in person, you know, there isn't a difference. So I think that that's something that I know I was thirsty to go to school when I was a freshman. So I know like I'm heartbroken right now, having to go back, but not being able to, you know, have the regular college experience. But I'm the type of person that I like to see, okay, well, what could possibly be the good out of this? And knowing for a fact that a lot of technology right now is about to rocket off, that this could be a really good time for students at any level, honestly, to become very like a lot more comfortable with technology, and even people that are working out in their career fields, becoming a lot more comfortable with technology would be the main key right now, because it's going to be something that you really need to be successful in the end. And also I was talking to someone like my little sister and telling her, go to community college right now. Your gen eds cost way too much at a 4-year level university when you can pay almost out of pocket easily at a community college. And when you get to go to your 4-year university, you will not even be there for 4 years, honestly. Like, you have to, you know, think about things like that. When you get these credits and they transfer over, and then you looking up, you're like, oh, I'm done. I was only here for like 2.5, 3 years, you know? So there's, like Asia said, blessings in disguise, which like sometimes I feel like it's very cliche, because it's like, why you gotta hide? Just show that you a blessing. That's fine. But you know, it's just some things that you have to, this is just something that we all have to go through in order to see what's on the other end. And it's going to be different for everybody, but we can all potentially learn the same lessons, you know, while going through these things. So I think that my biggest thing to like incoming freshmen would be like I had a conversation with mom the other day, like, find the things that, you know, what can you get out of the situation? And I think that's something that I have learned a lot in college. Like, what can I get out of this? You know, like, I just missed my bus. What can I get out of that? Wake up earlier, or get up when the alarm go off. You know, like, what if there's a situation? Boom. All right. So what was the lesson? What did I need to know right now? Because honestly, that's all the situations are. Situations are just learning opportunities, and it's up to you to self-reflect and be like, okay, how can I not be in this situation again? And when a situation is beyond your control, like a pandemic, you learn how to make the best out of a situation, which will be learning new skills, learning how to adapt to things. Adaptability is very important and key in situations like this. So yeah.
That's good. I want to do a side note, Jeremiah. I like your background. Sorry guys. I'm a child. I'm sorry. So I guess with our last 30 minutes, and this 2-hour block actually flew by. I just kind of want to know what you guys, and you guys kind of already did, what's your advice for freshmen that are going away from school and they feel like they finally getting away from their parents? Like, what's your advice in this COVID-19 environment? I guess for me, it would be, I prefer for you to stay home and be irritated by your parents than be 6 feet under. But that's a very brutal way to put it. But it's honest, because I was ready to get away, baby. But I think being in COVID, I probably would have preferred her to nag me than to be 6 feet under. Jeremiah, we're not in San Francisco. What's wrong? I would have preferred to be at home than to be 6 feet under. And I think we have to think about it that way. Or even think about, I guess, like you said, the blessings in disguise.
I do want to know, recognize that you said her to nag you. I got it.
Nag me, parentals potentially nagging him or her, more so her than him, because that's how it goes. But my advice would just be stay home and don't be 6 feet under. Excuse the person popping up in my background. Asia, what's your advice for incoming freshmen?
Basically, hopefully they just need to be safe. Like, don't get too excited. I know this is very exciting to be here, but don't get carried away, baby, because you're going to get carried away, baby, if you ain't safe. So, but I don't know. I just hope that people are like really, people that are comfortable enough, like with sending their freshmen that are, college does mature you in some ways, a lot of ways, I should say. So hopefully they are like really prepping their children to, come here and be safe and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, because it's very serious now. Like, this is not just you going to have, because it's not the typical college experience anymore. So you're not really going for that anymore. You're going to get your education and to stay safe. So I just hope that that's really being like embedded into their minds so that they, follow the guidelines and all that good stuff.
Okay, as parents, what is your advice for freshmen that just want to get away from their parents? Okay, because we sick of you. Not y'all, but.
Oh no, baby, you were sick of us. We know.
I'm sick of y'all now.
you
So long, bye-bye, hey. So long, bye-bye, hey.
Okay, seriously, we do understand that, that you guys are 18, but sometimes we do recognize when you guys are ready and not ready to do what you're supposed to do. And this is stigmatism that you 18, that means you're grown. Well, really not. You just feel like you are. Have a conversation, right? Because there might be some freedoms that you can have at home that you can have at school, right? You think that we be trying to hold you down and keep you here with us forever. To be truthful, we really want y'all to get out the house. We just want y'all to get out the house safely. And if we do it the right way, you leave and don't necessarily, you're independent and responsible enough to be on your own and not have to come back and, that shame that people feel when they have to come back home because they can't survive on their own. If we do it the right way as parents, we can train you that way. So when you get ready to go out to your freshman year and your parents say, maybe we want you to stay here, you're in the middle of a pandemic. It might be just because they feel like you're not mature enough to handle the mental stress that's getting ready to come at you when you walk on that college campus. it might not be that they just trying to hold you back, or they want you here to do the chores, to wash the dishes and stuff, so they don't have to do it. It really can be out of concern. But the best thing to do is to take the time to talk to your parent and express your concerns to them, and allow them to express their concerns to you, and actually listen to one another. That way you might find out some perspective that you wasn't actually anticipating.
I'll say this. Yes, we do want you to get out the house because we would like to do some adult things without the kids anymore. I know this is recorded timeout. I got it. Married folks, keep it spicy. Anyway, but I know we're talking college and everything else, but even for those that are not ready to go to college, there's nothing wrong with trade school either. There's nothing wrong with junior college. This college is an opportunity where, and I don't want to say hate, but I dislike when people make kids feel like they have to go to college. College is not for everybody. If you can go, you get your scholarship, get your education. Yes, amen, go, get it. However, I need some folks that can fix my car. I need some folks that know how to work on a computer. And if we're just being honest, you can take a lot of classes online now instead of paying these $50,000, $60,000 bills going to college. I'm glad y'all in school. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad Chris is into marketing and everything else and got the education. But learn, if you're watching this, learn from some of these people that are on here. You can pick up a lot of valuable stuff and not be in as much debt as they are just by talking to some of these people. But I'll say this.
Man talking, y'all. He talking. Listen.
No, but I'll say this at the same time. Whatever it is that you're going to do it safely right now. We are in a situation now where we don't know what's going to happen. As Steph said, we don't know what's going to happen next 6 months or next year, whatever the case is. This is your opportunity to be as creative as you want to be. You sick of mask, find a mask that actually blows air conditioning. Be creative. Come up with something right now. Be your own multimillionaire and create your own college where you don't have to do it. If you want to dance, find a virtual person that can actually do the choreography for you. If you out of shape, you can't dance for yourself. You want to do medicine, come up with some kind of robot that can actually perform surgery for you. I mean, whatever the case is, you in marketing, Chris, come up with the next logo for Nike where they have no choice but to pay you, whatever the case is. Jordan, she ain't in school right now, but go ahead, make whatever business move you want to make. Go ahead and cook. Go ahead and open up your business, be a lawyer. It don't matter. My thing, yeah, I did say cook. It had to be prophetic or pathetic. But whatever it is, this is the opportunity. And I'm saying this to all my college students, anybody that's watching this. You are more than what's going on right now. You are well able to overcome all of this stuff. This ain't nothing but just a little bump in the road, maybe an opportunity for, like they said, for you to know who you are. Get yourself in line, get yourself ordered. If your thing was to go to college for partying, you wasn't meant to go to college anyway. This is an opportunity to get your mind right, get your mind straight, and get ready for what's getting ready to come for you, because there's some great things. But the thing is now, what are you going to do in this point in this time? So go ahead, get yourself ready. Don't get depressed. Come out of depression. I understand it's a depressing state, but you don't have to be depressed. You got people on here you can call, you can text, whatever the case is, to talk to. I know my wife has hit me. I ain't trying to be preachy, nothing like that.
I want you to stop with this.
But the thing is, man, I love y'all. Do what y'all got to do. For those freshmen that are coming in, be a freshman, enjoy it in moderation.
Let me so I kind of watch CNN sometimes at night when my baby girl sleeps, because she don't like to hear what's going on the news and stuff. And there was a guy, he's a professor at one prestigious university. I don't remember which one, but what he said was that people that's getting ready to go to Harvard, and what's the other big one? Yale. Are getting ready to pay $50,000 and $60,000 or whatever it is a year to have class through Zoom. So if they can do that, you as a freshman can stay home and get your education for that first year through Zoom. So
if you just want to give your $50,000 away, Rock Ministries is open to all donations. I'm just saying.
This is not, no.
Oh, sorry.
First, I guess.
But the whole point of his statement was this: the college experience is about to change, because if they can actually through this year, if they can actually deliver education through things like Zoom, not probably for your degree, Steph, but things through Zoom and be able to make those labs that Asia was talking about available for students and really do it online, people not gonna want to pay $50,000, $60,000 a year to go through something that we pay $9.99 a month for. That's definitely not. That's a little bit under $1,000 a year, and you paying $50,000 and $60,000, and you're not getting that experience anymore. The college experience has definitely changed this year, so don't stress about it. If it's meant for you to have it in your sophomore year, you'll get it. Don't stress about it. It's more about your education than it is about, as somebody else says, you going out there and partying. Because that's usually what we want to leave home for, to party the way we want to party and do what we want to do, and dye our hair purple, orange, green, things our parents won't let us do.
Get the tattoos.
Get the tattoos, yes. But the whole point of the matter is you can still have that experience and be at home if you handle it right with your parents. On you, Jordan.
I did all my tattoos. They knew about them. My nose pierced. They knew about it. Okay. Period. So we're down to the last 15 minutes. So I don't want to end this so heavy. Not saying the conversation was heavy, but let's not end it so heavy. So let's just talk about some stuff that we've kind of learned, or some stuff that we started doing that's kind of made this easier. Like for me, I started reading books again. That's like a peaceful place for me. I started journaling again. Stuff like that. I found my passion for dance again. Like little things. Actually, let's don't ignore that corner over there. But let's just go around basically and just shut up, Stephanie. And just kind of discuss what we picked up. I'm doing skincare. I'm doing better with my health. Stuff like that. Let's just go around in a circle. Ignore the hands clapping and the thumbs up because they're throwing shade at me, and I don't like the palm trees in California. So let's start with Chris because he's the only one that's on my side right now. Oh, Asia, you got my back too. But let's start with Chris.
I love y'all, man. I love y'all. For me, because I have so much like time, time just kind of work from home. I just started cooking up some like business ideas. One thing, what I will say about just being in like corporate America, there's a lot of smart people that I just have access to, and all the different people that I just kind of work with. So I'm picking people's brains. I'm drawing up sketches. I'm working on just different plans, because when it's all said and done, I'm like, okay, having this job is cool, but I want to own my own ish. And I know this is recorded, so that's why I had to kind of make it somewhat censored. And then I also kind of started to do virtual mentoring, mentoring for current college students, recent college grads. I remember when I came out, a lot of my friends, they struggled in the job market, and it's brutal because it's real out here. And it took them probably like a year or two before they kind of like found gigs. Some people just went from gig to gig. Some people end up a barista at Starbucks, and it's like, you paid $200,000 only to end up a barista at Starbucks. So I wanted to make sure that first generation college students of color, that they didn't end up in those sort of predicaments. And then I also kind of started to get I joined Toastmasters. Toastmasters is the premier organization when it comes to just helping people develop their public speaking and leadership skills. So I used to do a lot of speaking engagements back in high school. And when I went to college, I kind of like dipped down. So now that, pandemic, quarantine, that all started happening, I was like, well, shit, I'm going to get back into, getting my reps in for speaking engagements. And that just kind of helped me just fill up my time, number one. But that also kind of not forced me, but that also kind of encouraged me to continue with the professional development. I know a lot of you guys are like students, but when you're done with school, I'll be the first one to say, you ain't done learning. Like, you need to constantly keep upskilling. You need to constantly learn something new. The brain is like a muscle, and it needs constant stimulation. So I always tell people, man, just because you done with school, just because you got your degrees, you're not done learning. Don't get it twisted. And so that's kind of how I just approached it.
Well, isn't he smart? That is a Creek Monique alum, okay?
That boy deep.
He alum.
Warrior Nation.
Warriors. Listen, little Eagle, we know, okay? We sorry. We like Southland too, but Creek Monique, period. We love Southland.
That's all right, Steph. Southland got a new gym. It's the biggest thing out here in Richmond Park right now.
We love Southland. Look, they made you. We good. But Creek Monique alone.
Technically, that's Colin Powell. Anyway.
Okay. Asia, what you doing, G? What you been doing other than Quaratine killing you?
Yes. Okay, so that's been like actually a huge part of what I've been doing is taking my health more serious. Like I've never been like numerically unhealthy, like by numbers and stuff, but I've been just trying to eat better. Y'all, let me tell y'all what happened because this is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy. So maybe like right when I came home, I was really gonna start like eating better. And so I told God, I was like, God, I was just playing though, but he took me serious. I said, God, if you could help me stop eating McDonald's, that would be great. So y'all, why all fast food make me sick? Like sick.
Won't it do it? Won't it do it?
I'm like, I only say McDonald's, but okay. But anyway, but that, and then I just been
exceeding abundantly above all you can ask or think, huh?
Okay. So I just been on like a self-care, thing. I'm trying to take care of my skin. And I've been trying to like look better because especially like when I was at school, I definitely like lost sight of like the girly side of me, the more feminine side. I got too into the college girl look, and I was kind of like, when I looked at all my memories and stuff, like, girl. But so that's really what I've been doing. And in a way, I've been more social. It sounds weird, but I'm starting to know how to be social with people outside of my circles and stuff like that, and not finding it so weird to talk to people. That's been a very big thing for me because I've always been kind of uncomfortable with going to certain people and just reaching out instead of waiting for people to reach out to me. So I guess I've definitely stepped out of my pride a lot with all of this going on. So yeah.
And the wonderful Mrs. Shaw. I mean, I think being friends, we kind of talk about this, so it's kind of like, But what you been doing, girl, other than Echo running around?
Yeah, so myself and my significant other adopted a puppy. So I am a newfound puppy mom. So that's been taking up a lot of time. But I love him so much. And I started working out. So like being a dancer, it's expected to be like healthy. And like I am healthy, but like I be tired when I be dancing, and that's not supposed to really happen. So at least as fast as it happened. So I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and get myself together. So I've been working out, playing with my dog. I've also started to take like initiative in, I don't know, I think that because my boyfriend is like in with minimalism, so I've been really like getting into that. So I've been like done a lot of deep cleaning and like getting rid of a lot of stuff. So now I think that's like my new thing. Just really trying to tone down the amount of stuff that I have, because I don't think I'm a hoarder, but I just like having like multiples of things. And like I have like 9 pairs of sunglasses. I can only wear 1 pair of sunglasses at a time. So it's just things like that, just trying to tone down. And I've also just been I've been watching like TV. I've been getting rest. And if you know me, you know rest is like not a thing. I'm always doing something. I'm always going to class, rehearsal, going somewhere to hang out. So I've finally just been getting like all my 3 years worth of rest that I missed out on. And I've been really appreciative of that because I always am like tired at school and I never get to rest. So I've been doing that. I've been watching TV. I've been living my best life. Just being able to do nothing, which is great. Do not let anybody tell you that doing nothing is a bad thing, that it is not a bad thing to lay down all day. It is not a bad thing to just not want to go anywhere, but just don't do it all the time, but just do it when you feel like that's what you need to do. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. This quarantine been great, honestly.
I do want to mention, I know this is being recorded for all those that are watching and aren't live, guys. I think it's important that you guys are okay with coming out of quarantine without a business. Like, you can take this time to not do anything. That is healthy. That is normal. Everybody can't be selling lashes and extensions at the same time. Like, it's okay. It's okay to not do anything and just to get a chance to reconnect with yourself. Another thing I've been doing is reconnecting with God. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Mother, what have you been doing that's new with quarantine other than being everyone's emotional guide that's on this Zoom, minus Chris?
So I've been planting herbs and making teas out of herbs and fresh parsley and food and things of that nature. I've been making, I don't know what Jordan laughing about, but I've been making cakes. So I made a Reese's peanut butter cake for Jordan for her birthday and a red velvet.
Pause, because God is in that, okay? Y'all cakes, please order from her because that Reese. Yeah.
Forget the Reese's, the red velvet.
The red, I made.
Hey, can I put an order in?
I mean.
Yeah, Chris, text me about it. I'll text you prices. I got you, big fella.
I made a red velvet cake for Dari for her birthday. And then just the other day for me, so I'm gluten-free, but their cakes were not gluten-free. I made an individual red velvet ice cream sandwich. No, it's not in the refrigerator. I ate it today. So I didn't post that, but yeah, I discovered the fact that I love to bake and I love to cook. And then I did work out this month for 25 days out of 31. So I gotta want to ask one more question before we get offline. You can come over here. Okay, Steph has something too. Here.
I also been apartment shopping. So when I go back to school, we got an apartment. So is this adulting?
That is adulting, baby. That's adulting.
Oh, yeah, I paid rent yesterday. I was hurt. Okay, hurt.
Your bank account hurt. Your feelings should have been hurt after that first rent. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I was sad.
Welcome to adulthood. So here's my last question I want to ask you guys. We only have 5 minutes. If there was anything you could tell your school or Chris in your class, your employer, about what's going on in this pandemic and how you would like them to handle it, what would it be?
Oh, can I go first?
Yes.
I really want, no, for real, I have a high volume job. I work at a call center. I would love for them to be okay with self-care days, because talking to people constantly about their bills with the pandemic, or even on my end being an admin and dealing with the clients in the hospitals personally, can be very stressful. So I would love for them to take one day out of the week and just like rest it out. Like, just chill. Don't argue with nobody, baby mama, about their pregnancy bill. Just be easy. Like, I wish my job would do
that. I just wish my school would just choose not to open back. Honestly, because I feel like it definitely just eliminates that hard decision that a lot of people are trying to make right now. You know, you feel like, oh, if this person going, you feel left out or you missing out, or so if they would just make the playing field even for everybody and just say, let's all just stay home, it would make it so much more easier and better. And then I feel like it would take a lot of stress off of us, and everybody would feel like we're in the same boat again. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I would say for me, honestly, I would just kind of I would just let my agency know, uh, because we do have, we're all working from home, like we're all doing like virtual collaboration. This is the perfect time to grab some inner city, black kids and do some apprenticeships to kind of create that access, create those opportunities. That way we can kind of diversify my industry. Because I'm be honest with you, I'm trying to figure out this whole systemic racism thing. And there's like talks, different organizations trying to do different things, but I'm like, look, let's just be real. We ain't doing as much as we could be doing. So let's just take some time. It don't take long to put together some programming. And it's like everything's all virtual because of the pandemic. So then it's like, well, we really don't have an excuse. And I've actually been working with them to put together some, because I was like, I'm gonna need some black kids to understand what it's like to work with Fortune 500 brands. This is cool stuff, but you also have the opportunity to have massive impact at scale. And I want these kids to experience that. Plus, black kids are exceptionally creative, and black people are the most influential on the planet. And no, don't worry. I am solely, I'm going to back that claim up like myself. This is not on Rock Ministries. This is just Chris Kaiser speaking. Chris Kaiser.
I would like to say the Rock Ministry agrees on his opinion and all those that have said.
Okay, I guess really quick.
Steph, what would you like to say to your school?
I just had the same opinion. My bad.
I don't really know, because I think that as far as safety concerned, I'm glad that they are offering, at least for my department, that they are giving us the opportunity to choose to have all classes online, which eliminates me having to really leave, which keeps me in the safety confines of my home, which honestly I like, because y'all know I'm not getting up anyway to go nowhere. So that kind of works out. But I think that just in the concern of other people, and I don't really think that my advice or my question would be to my school, but more so to my peers, just in making sure, like, please take care of yourself. Like, it's not, whatever you're trying to do, it's probably not worth it, honestly. Like, okay, you can have a gathering, okay, you can do that, but I've already seen people talking, like, party at this house. Like, we have like there are like certain groups on campus that are known for like throwing parties, and like this one group, they just like got a rented a house, so like usually all the parties are like at their house, and they're already like making like rules and guidelines on like how their parties are going to be. I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, we'll have just so much more time to party if we like make it, life, like if we exist, there will be way, way, way more time to celebrate and party. So my advice or my questions, concerns to really go towards my peers. Like, please, like, it's whatever you are trying to do, most likely it's not worth it. If you have to think about it, it's probably not worth it.
Okay. It is 6:01, and we're not going to be on CP time. So I want to thank everybody for joining the forum. It was a really good conversation. It kind of took itself, which is what I wanted. I'm glad it was kind of small, so everyone got a chance to voice their opinions. Thank you, Steph, Asia, and Chris, for jumping on. Um, Thank you, Mommy and Daddy, for giving us a platform. That was great. Round of applause for you guys. If you guys have anything else to say, mommy and daddy, it's on y'all. But other than that, I ain't got nothing else to say.
Also to Jeremiah and Christy who got on as well and dropped, we thank you guys for joining us as well.
Appreciate it.
That is it. As Jordan said, thank you guys for doing this. We really appreciate it. Just know it will be shared on YouTube, and Facebook will tag you guys in it, and you can share it with other people. That's all I got for now. I appreciate you guys. Good night.
You heard her. She said good night. No, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being on here and to being a part of this. Have a great night. Know that we love you. We're praying for you. Chris, make sure that Jordan has your information so I can at least get you on Facebook or something like that so I can keep up with you and everything else, man. If you need anything, we're here. If you guys need us, you know how to get in contact with us. We love you. So do whatever you need to do. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye.